Good day and welcome back to another DB Legends video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at another unit, and this time we're going to be taking a look at Kahseral. So Kahseral is one of the latest sparkings, and yeah, he's pretty interesting. I would say one of the really interesting things with Kahseral as a unit, he has bleed on his strike attack, but he's got a very good Z ability. Like a very nice Z ability. I think overall, he's a good addition to the team. He does some good damage as a red unit. He's not crazy, he's not like insane. He's not like Jiren who feels crazy, but he's good. He counters, he provides a bit of counter to some excessive key recovery. He also increases the amount of damage that our allies do, which is pretty solid. And he can affect, health restoration, key recovery. He's a good kind of stifling little unit with his kit and his abilities. So realistically, there's actually quite a solid amount that Kahseral can do, and it just depends basically on how you best use him, but he does have some useful abilities, a lot of nice utility. But basically, he can provide a lot to the team. He has some way to shut down switching. He has a way to nullify health restoration effects. He combats key recovery. He combats health restoration. He has a very good little Z ability. And yeah, in general, I would say he's a solid unit. Is he as crazy as Jiren? I don't think so. Personally speaking, I don't find him to be as crazy as Jiren, but I think he's really solid. I think he has some really good methods to him. He can keep up some really good tempo. He's got some really good abilities. His key recovery or his cover change is really solid. He reduces enemy key, he reduces their vanishing gauge, he destroys a card, and I think that's really good. You can throw him in the way basically of attacks, let him cover change, and you can use him to completely disrupt your enemy's tempo. Between nullifying their health restoration, between affecting their key recovery, his ability to destroy their cards, his ability to just function as a unit, I think he's really solid. Now, of course, one thing that does aid him a lot is he's red type, and USS red type and Rival Universe red type is sitting in a good spot. He can run the injunction with Bergamo, who can boost him and hit simultaneously. So that means you will have a 3 red team, but with him being a solid option, and hit being a very good option right now, and Bergamo being a good boost option due to his HP ability and now his red Zenkai boost, it's a pretty solid kind of foundation for Kahseral to look pretty good. Now obviously the big thing about understanding how to use Kahseral is making sure that you use his cover change nullification correctly. Like I said, he's going to do decent damage to yellow type units. He will also provide you with good utility. You can use him to remove units that restore health at 0. You can use him to shut down your enemy's tempo, and you can use him to affect their health recovery and key recovery mechanics. But the big thing about Kahseral that makes him so solid, at least for me, is his ability to be thrown in the middle of an enemy's combo and basically disrupt them quite substantially, which I think is pretty good. You can see here we're not doing a lot of damage. There's a couple of reasons for this. Firstly, Kahseral 3 stars, not insane. But in general, the main reason is equipment's not too great, and a lot of the times you'll see people running him with the Bergamo's Zenkai boost, and there's a reason why. Nowadays Zenkai boosts are almost mandatory, I want to say, to get a unit to really shine, like to make a unit look really insane. You need to kind of Zenkai boost that unit, and it's not to say that he is useless without a Zenkai boost. It's just that you can Zenkai boost him with a very good option, in Bergamo. So yeah, me personally, I would say, Kahseral, I like him. I think the only issue with Kahseral is he doesn't shorten his substitution timer count. But you could see there, us switching him in just enabled us to obviously circumvent the enemy's flow a little bit, which is pretty good stuff. Overall though, Kahseral's a solid enough option, where I think he could definitely be your red option for your team. If you're running a hit or you're running Bergamo, I think there's no issue in taking Kahseral. I think he's a unit that can do an incredibly good job, and he will not really let you down. I think he sits in a good position to benefit from the meta right now, and I think utilizing him to counteract the enemy's tempo and using him as a way to absorb damage and kind of take in the damage of the opposition, I think is pretty good. So for me, I would say Kahseral, solid unit. Now, I suck at the game, so never be surprised that I can make a solid unit, or just even a solid team, not look that great. But having used Kahseral during the course of this video, and a little bit afterwards, I think once you get the hang of cover changing him correctly, the way he disrupts the tempo of the opposition is very impressive. Like, just the whole way that he disrupts the opposition and just manages to obtain control like in that manner, I think is very impressive. And that for me is the big upside of using Kahseral as a unit comparative to using other characters. I think in that sense he's incredibly good, and I really do I do suggest if you have him, get used to him, give him a bit of a try. Definitely run him with a bit of a boost, but he's a really good foil for some of the super solid options we have, and his ability to slow down the enemy's comboing is very, very good. So yeah, I would say Kahseral is definitely someone you should consider. If you've managed to pick him up, he's going to be a solid starting red option. If you have a hit, or you have your Bergamo, and you Zenkite Bergamo, and you have a hit, then you can start to really run a very interesting 3-core red lineup, and I think that could be something. Obviously, his real ability is the fact that he's going to facilitate your other units. He's not existing as a unit to completely dominate the game, but he can seal strike cards, he can disrupt health restoration, he can disrupt key recovery, he destroys cards, he does a lot, and it's that ability to affect and disrupt tempo that makes him very good as a unit. Sometimes you need units that can just really disrupt the tempo of the opposition. An example of this is if you take a look at Blue Zamasu. Blue Zamasu is a unit, he really disrupts players because when players attack him, they lose key. And this can throw out their combo. It's something that throws out a lot of players in their combos, especially those who don't know how to key charge and key step. And so it can be something that's very, very limiting and very, very effective in disrupting the opposition. So I would say overall that you do kind of have to factor in, how good that disrupting is. The fact that you can disrupt the flow of the opposition is always something to take a look at. Now, him not having blast armor on his core ability is probably the only downside I would say he has, or at least significant downside. I think nowadays blast armor is kind of a given. I think more units have blast armor nowadays than units that don't. So I do think that could be changed. But other than that, I think he's in a good enough position whereby he's doing a very good job. And overall, I would have to say that I like Kahseral, and I think he does a very solid representation as a sparking unit. I think Jiren's definitely a step above, and I think KY also is maybe a bit more gimmicky, but a bit more fun to use. But I think Kahseral can be understated and also effective. So if you've got him, take a look at how to implement that cover change, nullification, or well, not nullification, but tempo disorder into your team, and really just get a feel for him. And you'll soon find that he can really disrupt the opposition and give yourself a good platform to set up some of your stronger units in the team. But that's going to be it from me. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what builds you would run, and I'll see you next time. Bye.